Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this week's episode of Mocktail Minutes. This is Bailey.
And this is Brianna.
This week I am drinking, what is it called? The Real Co. I guess that's how you say it. RYL.
Yeah,
I think I found
yeah.
these at Kroger. It's either Kroger or Target, but it's like a peach tea and it's sweetened with stevia. It's really tasty.
It looks good.
Yeah.
I like peach tea. I literally am just opening it to see if you guys will have the first. Do I like it? So I got the Olipop, the Barbie version, whatever edition. I'm very excited for this one. It's peaches and cream. I mostly just liked it because the can, but we'll see.
Mhm.
Okay. It's okay.
Okay.
It tastes like peach rings, but
Oh,
not
those are
sweet.
really good.
Yeah, like okay, I actually do like it. It's peach rings, but not super sweet. Okay. I didn't even look to see how much added sugar. It's about the same. It's 5 grams. That's like typically what they have is like 3 to 5. Okay.
We're both went peachy today.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We're
It's
feeling
like summer
summer.
vibes, you know,
Yeah.
we're like ready for it to be summer. Well, not fully summer, but you know.
Oh, I'm ready.
Oh, I'm ready. It means I'm not pregnant anymore.
I'm ready for full on summer where I can just live my best life and everything's gonna be great.
It's gonna be amazing.
We need to do an episode, I think, on summers because I feel like we were actually, Megan had talked about this in office hours with Metabolism Makeover. It's just summer is so weird for everyone, no matter if you have kids in school or not in school. It's like summer has different vibes.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The whole mood of it is different.
So we should maybe do like tackling summer or like a summer challenge.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
If
Let's
you're
do
one
it.
of summer's challenge, let us know so that we
Yeah.
don't do something for nothing.
Yeah, you guys aren't like, dang it, they're doing another episode on this. Yeah, warn us beforehand. But yeah, I think that would be really helpful because summer is just different. Yeah.
Did you see the Barbie movie when it came out?
I didn't.
You haven't
Probably
seen
because I have boys. I haven't seen it.
it? Oh,
I'm gonna go watch it by myself. Was it good? There was a lot of controversy around it, and I didn't even know how to get in on the argument because I was like, I legit haven't seen it.
yeah. I mean, I think it was good, but it wasn't what I was expecting. So I took my cousin with me. She's 10.
Hmm.
And I don't know, like I was expecting like the Barbie movies that I had growing up. No, this was like life lesson Barbie stuff. And I don't know, it was interesting.
Yeah, that's what I heard. That it was more like adults were like, oh, kids aren't going to be able to enjoy it because they're
Yeah.
not understanding what's going on behind it. And I was like, oh, all right. Well, I didn't think it was that deep, but I also haven't seen it. So,
Yeah. I mean, I cried in it
all right.
before I was pregnant. So
You're like, so that's saying something. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to watch it and then I'll tell you how I feel about it.
surely it'll be on Netflix or Disney Plus or something soon.
It's somewhere. I don't pay for cable because it's so expensive, but then I have like every streaming service there is, so it's probably the same exact. It's on something that I pay for. I'm gonna watch
Yes.
it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll have to check it out and let me know your thoughts on it. But I will say that it was just interesting, not what I was expecting. I didn't like hate it, but I didn't love it.
I'm expecting to love it, so maybe I shouldn't.
Just be open-minded.
Be open-minded. Let it just
Happen.
let it happen. Take it in. See what it has. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is nothing about what we're talking about today. We are doing a little, I guess, kind of like a product review again. So, but this one, it's coconut oil. And we chose this one because it's a little bit of a controversial one where people are like, oh, yeah, do all the coconut oil. And I think it is becoming more popular again. I feel
Yeah.
like there was a stage where it was super popular. We were drowning in coconut oil. And then we're like, oh, wait, it has saturated fat. Let's not do that. And now we're kind
Yeah.
of getting back to it a little, or we're just flat out confused on how to use it, maybe, or if we should.
Yeah. I think it was one of those fad things for a while where it was like coconut oil on everything. It's like your skin, your hair, everything you cook with. You're putting it in coffee. It's like we're just like it's so good for you, so the more the better. And then people are like, "Oh my gosh, like it's a fat." I'm like yeah, which yes, it's still good, but you probably don't need like copious amounts of coconut. A little bit goes a long way.
So yeah, we're gonna break it down today, talk about what coconut oil is. Should you eat it? Should you not? Benefits, not benefits. What are those called? What?
Benefits, What is the word we're looking for? Words are hard. It's Friday.
I don't know. Like, I mean, there's like pros and cons, I guess, or like disadvantages, not
Advantages, disadvantages, benefits. I think risks go with benefits, but I guess
oh yeah, risk benefits.
uh, someone comment. Just tell me the word we're looking for.
It is Friday when we are recording, so
Exactly.
so we'll dive in. Basically, coconut oil is a type of oil that is created from the meat of mature coconuts. So I always tell when I talk about coconut oil or coconut milk, everyone's always like, "Oh, I hate coconut." I'm like, "Have you actually tried like true coconut oil or true coconut milk?"
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when we think about it, we are thinking about the coconut flavored things like a pina colada. And that's what I initially thought about too. Like when I thought about coconut milk, I thought about like the pina colada, like the tropical vibes or like the smell of sun tanning lotion. That's not what like actual coconut oil or coconut milk is. It's actually not super sweet.
No, like just the normal coconut. It's not.
Yeah. And even just coconut water, like it's really not that sweet. I had a coconut like in Mexico. We got one like right off the beach. I was like, this is not the coconut water that I've gotten out of my can before.
Yeah, right. And it's like a lot of work too. You gotta like hammer it open, like this is gonna
You
be
get
amazing. And you're like, oh, it's a letdown.
You got barely anything. And then when we were in Miami, I actually got one. They had them at like the pool. And so theirs was very fancy. They had like it engraved into it and had like the straw ready to go. But it
Yeah.
was just pure coconut water still. And you got like 6 drinks out of it. And I was like, I paid $18 for this.
Why don't I get more? I know. I know. It's kind of
I
a
tried to
letdown.
take it home, but it's kind of hard to take a real coconut home.
And then you just have a coconut on your counter. You're like, all right, I guess I'll get rid of it now. Yeah. So if you're, it's not super flavorful. It's kind
Yeah,
of
it really
bland.
is. I use it
Yeah.
a lot because with having a dairy allergy, it's an easy substitute when you need something creamy. So like tater tot casserole, we use coconut milk for the
Mhm.
base. So yeah, it's not super sweet, but there's a couple steps that go into it. So it's harvested from palm trees, coconut palm trees.
Mhm.
And then you got to crack it. So there's a hard outer shell of the coconut that's cracked to kind of show you the white inside. And that's the white part is what's the coconut meat. And then you cut it or grate it into small pieces. So that's the way it's easier to process. And then the coconut meat is going to be dried to reduce its moisture content. So, I mean, you could do this through sun drying, or there's like specialized equipment, which is probably what most companies are using. They're not like sunbathing their coconut because that would take a lot of time and money and resources. Then after like your coconut is dried, the coconut meat is going to go through pressing or expelling to get the oil out of it. So this process can be done with lots of different methods like cold pressing, which involves putting the coconut meat at lower temperatures without the use of heat or chemicals.
Mhm.
Where there's expeller pressing, which involves using mechanical pressure to extract the oil. So in general, like for any oils, really, I would go for a cold pressed or an expeller pressed because they're not adding heat, they're not adding chemicals to make the product. So the oil will retain its nutritional benefits.
And that's important too, because they're really like fragile. I don't know if fragile is the right word, but these like fats are, it's really easy to like,
You're sensitive.
yeah, they're sensitive to heat, they're sensitive to light. And so it's like, okay, like knowing like they use heat and chemicals, that just degrades. That's the word I'm looking for. Sensitive, they degrade easily. So, and coconut oil is already expensive. Like coconut oil and any oil really is already expensive. So it's like you want to be getting the full product as best as you can. So spending a little bit more for the cold press is going to be a better option.
Mm-hmm. And that's why when you look at the grocery store at different products and you can look at two different oils, and if they're priced at different amounts, I mean, yeah, it could be just the company, but if one is cold pressed and one's not, well, if they're adding heat or chemicals, it makes the processing quicker. So they're
Mhm.
able to produce more at a quicker rate. So then they can make it cheaper.
Yeah.
But Because I mean, we do get the comment all the time that eating healthy is so expensive. I don't want to spend this extra money. I'll just do the cheaper option. My thoughts around that is if we're going to do something, like think about what you're using most often. If you're cooking with oils or like coconut oil, and our coconut oil honestly lasts us a long time.
Yeah.
Then think about the items that you want to splurge on based on how often you use it. Because if you're using something that's lost its nutritional benefits anyways, like it's kind of like, what's the point? And it's the same thing with supplements. Like magnesium is a great example where some magnesium forms are not as bioavailable, meaning your body doesn't use them up as well. Some of them are going to be more available for your body to use, like a magnesium glycinate.
Yeah.
So if you get one just because it's cheaper, but it's not necessarily bioavailable, well, great, you saved a few dollars, but it's also not really doing anything for you.
Yeah. You're not getting the full benefit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in particularly with fats, well, supplements, I think that's important too. But with fats, like we know that there is a lot of health risks associated with oxidized fats.
Yes.
And you want to make sure that you are not consuming, and we're probably going to get into this, so like smoke points and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But when a fat is like degraded, it's more oxidized, it's not as beneficial for you. And I'm not saying this to be like, oh my gosh, don't have any fat, but it's like good to be mindful, right? Like this is why like smoked meats and a lot of things like aren't great. It's like we don't want a ton of oxidized fats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's basically how the oil is created. I mean, once it's pressed and expelled, it does go through like a filtering process to remove any like impurities. So then now you have this pure oil. So coconut oil is rich in saturated fats, and this is where red flags tend to go up around coconut oil. Yeah. But it also has MCTs, which have been linked to various health benefits. Yeah. And then coconut oil also has the antioxidants and vitamins in it as well. So, I mean, depending on how it's processed is going to depend on how much of those benefits you get from the MCTs, the antioxidants, the vitamins. But I mean, it can also change the flavor, how it smells as well. It's like there are some coconuts that I will buy and I'm like, it doesn't really smell like anything. Yeah. And some of them, like you can smell the coconut.
And for those of you that are like, what are MCTs? Those are medium chain triglycerides. You're similar to carbs that have different sizes of carbohydrates. That's like a very layman's term. Fatty acids have those too. Like, we have short chain, we have medium chain, we have long chain. The medium is interesting because we metabolize them very quick. And so they can be used more quickly by the body. And I think this is where the health craze came up because, when we talk about like pairing, carbs, for example, like carbs with fats to help the blood sugar spike, medium chain fatty acids do a really good job at that. And so I think people became like, oh gosh, this is like really good for my blood sugar and all that. So it's like, let's add a ton in. And then it was like, oh, we're still worried about heart disease and like your saturated fat intake. And so it's like one of those, like, it's not fully saturated, but it's not fully unsaturated. And so it's actually, the body really likes it and it's good for like energy and helping blood sugar and stuff, but also you don't want to be overdoing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, our body can easily absorb it. And that's where, what was it? Like we were calling it the bulletproof coffee. No, that's the brand. But there was like fat bomb coffee. It was something.
Yeah, it was the fat bombs.
Yes. Fat bombs. You just MCTs and coffee. It's not your magic potion, but yeah, MCTs are just easily used by the body.
And they're thought to like help like with cognition and memory and focus. And so that's where you get a lot of the keto people like have like your fat bomb coffee have so much of focus. Like, yeah, I'm sure there's something to that for sure. But another thing that helps with focus is eating a little bit of carbohydrates. But
we like to take one little thing and fixate on it.
Yes. It's like, oh, this could do that. I'm like, okay, it could.
I mean, yes, but also like it's not just one thing. But yeah, MCT oils are derived from coconut oil. So that's where you get it. And then we mentioned saturated fats. So in general, saturated fats like I mentioned, it's kind of those ones that we put red flags around typically. And it's been a little bit a topic of debate. I feel like more in our world more than anything.
Yeah.
Because more research is coming out, and we still need more research. Shocker there. But with the saturated fats, there are the concerns with the cardiovascular health, with being around like cholesterol levels. So, I mean, what's interesting is we've always been told like saturated fats can increase your LDL, like your bad cholesterol. But then there's also studies that show that saturated fats increase your HDL. And that's like your good
cholesterol. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, there's that. And then, I mean, saturated fats can lead to more inflammation. It can cause some blood clotting and impairs your endothelial function, which just refers to the ability of your blood vessels to dilate and constrict.
Yeah.
So it can affect like your blood pressure, for example.
Yeah.
But I would say the most important part to know here is saturated fats are not just inherently bad. We actually need saturated fats. And that's where it just comes to consuming it in moderation. And just like carbohydrates, we got to think about like the type of saturated fat too.
Yes.
So bringing it back to coconut oil has lauric acid in it, which is a type of saturated fat. And this one is actually known to be like neutral or even maybe beneficial for those cholesterol levels. So the type does matter too. Same thing with like simple carbs versus complex carbs. There's different. Same thing. Why we don't just focus on calories. Like, let's actually look at what we're doing.
You need a balance. Surprise, surprise. You need unsaturated. You need saturated. There's actually a lot of like, you can actually increase your risk of a lot of other diseases if you're not having any saturated fat. And this is like really, I feel like this is a big topic of discussion right now, is like red meat isn't bad and you need saturated fat and everyone's using butter. And it's like, perfect. I agree. I think again, when we look at our research, when we look at our recommendations, they are very blanket. What is going to be the most impactful for the most amount of people? And when we look at the American diet in general, it's unhealthy. Okay. So it's like, where are the majority of the people getting their saturated fat from? It's from fast food. It's from, eating highly processed foods. It's from trans fats. It's from a lot of these things that you don't want an extra or excess. It's coming from a lot of oxidized fats because we're deep frying food. And when you deep fry food, which means you just heat fat to a really high temperature, you are breaking down those fats. That is bad. So I would say like, there's a difference between eating like a really good portion of red meat and going through a drive-through and getting like a 99-cent cheeseburger. Same with like butter, like some grass-fed butter is going to be better for you than the saturated fat that's like in a Little Debbie's muffin. Again, it's like quality of food matters. Are they both saturated fat? Yes, but it's like, there's more to the story. But when it comes to recommendations and why most doctors are like, do not eat saturated fat, it's like, we need the majority of people to like not have heart disease. And this is the easiest way to do it, is to tell them to stop eating saturated fat.
And this is a good point to bring up. So doctors, for example, and I never want to like hate on doctors or anything, but I want you, because I have so many people asking like, well, why didn't my doctor explain this to me in the way that you are? I'm like, well, first of all, that's not their job.
It's not their job.
Quite honest. Like doctors take one nutrition course and that's it. We take 6 years of nutrition courses.
Yeah, sometimes more.
Yeah. I mean, it's a difference there. And you also have to think, so doctors most of the time, like reimbursement wise, I mean, insurance is going to cover 15 minutes maybe for them. Yeah. They get 15 minutes with you. As a dietitian, I'm sitting down with clients for an hour and we're following up like every 2 weeks a lot of times. It looks a lot different, and our whole focus is just on the food. That's not their job.
No.
So they have to tell you, or they're going to tell you what's going to be most beneficial for you
right now.
Yeah.
100%. Well, and that's just how our healthcare system is kind of built, and doctors are not, the majority of it's not meant for preventative care. It's meant to treat. And when you go into your doctor's office and you have insanely high cholesterol and your blood pressure's through the roof, their job is in those 15 minutes, how are we going to get a grip on this to make sure that all those come down? Because right now that's an issue. And so that's what you're working on. Everything else is a different disciplinary team.
And you should be referred to a dietitian. And I think that can be a disconnect too, is many people don't know what a dietitian is, or you don't know that unless you're listening to us right now, but a lot of people didn't even know we exist or what we do, or maybe you've seen us around in the hospital. So I think as a whole, we could work better to refer each other and help each other out there.
That's our sidebar. But yes, but that's why, because a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, wait, my doctor told me not to eat saturated fat. And what the heck? Now you're telling me fat is good. And it's like, well, there's a lot to the story. Come sit, let's chat.
Yes. So with that being said too, so benefits of saturated fats in general, I mean, like I said, there is some studies suggesting that it can now increase levels of HDL, your good cholesterol. And then thinking about like, it is a source of energy too. It's going to be a very dense source of energy because fat in general has 9 calories per gram. Yeah. And they're also going to be essential for functions throughout your body. Saturated fats help produce hormones. It's going to give your cells structure. And then it's also going to help absorb your fat soluble vitamins, A, D, E, and K. Now, I mean, where I'm from, I live in Missouri. I'm in the Midwest. So lots of people are deficient in vitamin D. It's a super common deficiency, but especially if you're not eating enough fat in your day, you can't absorb that. We need fat to be able to absorb our fat soluble vitamins.
Yep. Make hormones. Your fat is actually used for a lot. It's actually used for a lot in your body. And so, you know, most people are just like, fat is bad. Fat makes you fat. Fat clogs my arteries. Avoid fat. And that's just not true. The problem is you just haven't been taught about fat. So you absolutely need fat.
Well, even like speaking of the fat soluble vitamins, fat also helps absorbing like calcium and other minerals. So it's going to affect your bone health, which is great as well. And like those cell membranes, I mean, thinking about your cell membranes in your brain. So this is where kind of like the MCTs, they're going to have those neuroprotective effects. They're going to improve your brain health. That's why it became so popular. Everyone wants a better brain. I certainly could use help some days.
Well, you're pregnant, so that doesn't count. But yeah, perfect. Yeah, no, we need our brains. I'm constantly like, when I look at women who are under eating, number one, not eating fats, living off of barely anything, I'm like, how are you not feeling crazy? I would feel crazy. I've been there. I felt crazy. Like, let's get you some fat, some real fat dressing to go with your salad and maybe add some stuff to it. And you're going to feel so much better.
Screw the fat-free dressing, to be honest.
No, because you're eating a plate full of vitamins and minerals, and half of them you can't even absorb if you don't pair it with fat. So,
yep, saturated fat definitely has benefits to it as well. And then, so as far as like how to use coconut oil, I guess, number one, cooking. So I use it more, I guess, for like breakfast type things or baking a lot. That's kind of what I mainly use it. But what's nice about it is that it has a high smoke point. So it's really good for high heat cooking. And you could replace like butter or other oils. And it's going to change, like I said, it doesn't have a crazy flavor. It just changes the flavor a little bit. But if you Pinterest healthy keto recipes or like healthy recipes or something, a lot of times they will use coconut oil for their oil in it.
Like you said, it has a high smoke point, which means you can get it really hot without really jeopardizing the structure of it, which is a good thing. So it's good for baking. It's good for sauteing. You can just add it to things. You can make dressings with it. You can put it in coffee. You can do whatever you want with it.
And with smoke point in general, it does help to kind of be aware of what its smoke point is, because if you heat an oil past its smoke point, it can make the food taste burnt, but you're also losing the nutritional value, and it can actually produce more harmful compounds. So oil, like the coconut oil, is good for high heat. Avocado oil, is also good for high heat. So thinking about like frying and roasting type things.
Yeah.
And then oils with like higher levels of unsaturated fats, like your olive oil, flaxseed oil, have lower smoke points. That's going to be better for sauteing or like the dressing, something like that.
Yeah, like drizzling on your food after for some flavor. Yes. And really like that is, I really think when we're talking about fats in general, because I think most fats are good. It's really like, how are you using it? How much are you using it? And are you using it appropriately? Because those are the things that are going to get you in trouble.
So yeah, you can use coconut oil, obviously, to cook, but there's also other things you can use it for.
So many other things.
Yes, a skin moisturizer for one. I have been using it for my pregnant little belly since I like found out I was pregnant.
Yeah, it's a great moisturizer. I do it in the winter when it's like
I look like
dry.
a glazed donut every night because I'm like, we're just getting it all coconut oiled up.
Yeah.
I'm just
I'll do it in the shower. Okay, be careful because it's slippery. But you can put it on the shower and it works because the water isn't enough to like get it off. So it's like at the end of your shower, you like put it on and like, oh, like get out and it's like perfect. You don't get like the oil everywhere.
Yes.
But your shower gets very slippery.
Yeah, that could be a little dangerous. I usually just put it on once I'm out of the shower.
Yeah, for you, don't put it in the shower. Don't do that.
But
Yeah,
we
like,
do buy the giant like bottle of it, and it's one that is like literally just for bathroom use because I don't want to like be sticking my hand on it and rubbing it all over my body and then be like, okay, let's go.
I need a spoonful for my baking. Let me go get it out of the shower.
Yeah, I feel like that would get a little weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really good moisturizer actually. And then it can also help like remove makeup, especially if you have the waterproof mascara or like eyeliner on. Rub it on your eyeballs and helps get that off without peeling out all of your eyelashes.
Yeah, it's good for like a hair mask. You can make a body scrub, oil pulling if you're
Have you
into
ever
that.
done that?
I have. It's
Wait,
good.
we've talked about the oil pulling on an episode before. Yeah.
Yeah, in our gut health episode. So yeah,
Yes.
kind of because it has antimicrobial properties. So kind of like swishing it in your mouth, pulling out all that bacteria. Massage oil, lip balm. The one thing I will say don't use it for, and I think this was more of a thing last summer, don't use it as sunscreen. It is not sunscreen. You're gonna burn like a lobster. You're basically buttering yourself up.
Like, doesn't it attract the sun more? I feel like.
Yeah, you're literally asking to get burned. I think it's a good like after sun care because it's very moisturizing and it feels good. But if you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the beach today, like lather on my coconut oil because it's like natural, stop. Don't do that. There's a lot of other natural things.
And I think so, maybe it's my nesting phase, but I have been in the mood. I'm like, I'm gonna make my own lotion because
It is.
my natural lotion is getting expensive. It's like, make it. And I think I found one that uses coconut oil in the lotion. So we'll see if I actually get to it. But it doesn't sound too bad. Like you just order some shea butter on Amazon, get some coconut oil, and then like essential oils. So I might start making it. Stay tuned.
Yeah. It's like romanticizes a little bit.
Yeah.
And then stay out of the sun.
I paid $13 for a jar like this big.
I know. Yeah, I know.
But I really like it.
But I love it. So instead, I'm going to try to make it.
Yeah. It'll be my maternity leave project.
Yeah. Bailey's going to start selling lotion. Because it's totally a nesting phase. You're like, look at all the stuff I can make.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take advantage of it. That's what this phase is for.
Yes.
Make enough lotion for like a year. Because that'll be the next time that you want to make lotion.
Yeah, I would recommend using it as like a moisturizer. Get the big container of it so like you can actually stick your hand in there.
Yeah.
And then just get the little container for your kitchen.
Yeah, don't mix match them. Don't do that.
And it's really good for rashes too. I mean, take it with a grain of salt. I mean, I've like Josh or like in the summer, Josh will break out in like a heat rash. And I mean, I'm not a skin doctor or anything, a dermatologist, but he'll put that on his legs or whatever, or his arm, and it'll clear up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, something's
no harm. It's not going to hurt you. Yeah. So, there's lots of different ways to use coconut oil.
Yeah, but I like it for baking, and I do put it in my smoothies sometimes.
I'll do that too sometimes.
Or like I
Easy
use the coconut milk for my smoothies. Because I actually did find out I did a GI map test and I have some bile acid malabsorption. So the MCTs are a little bit easier on my body to absorb. So
perfect. So you need the MCTs. Yes.
yes.
So yeah.
Anything else you think about coconut oil that we need to add?
No, I think that's it. I love it. Again, it's one of those things like just because it's amazing doesn't mean you should overdo it. I think that about everything. But yeah, I love it.
Yeah. You don't need to do like a fourth of a cup of it every time you eat. Like still treat it as any other fat.
Yeah.
It's just one of those ways to get variety in, get some other nutrients. And it has multiple different uses. Like, I mean, if you are cooking, get some on your finger, like give yourself some gloss.
Some gloss, you know, like you instead of wiping your hands off, just kind of rub it in. Yes. So
still be mindful because I feel like fat is just like we've talked about, it's just easy to overdo because it is that concentrated form of energy, aka concentrated form of calories. Not a bad thing, not something to fear. Yeah.
Just something to know. So
that is your coconut oil lesson
for the day.
Yep. Hope you enjoyed it. And then next week, while we were planning out this episode, we thought about talking about hair health because this is something we always are like, how can I make my hair like shinier, thicker, or I feel like my hair is always falling out. So we're going to go into how to get better hair. I think this will be fun.
Yeah.
And no, we're not going to go tell you to get biotin.
No, that won't be it. So spoiler alert.
I actually used to take biotin all the time in high school and it didn't really help me.
No, it doesn't. Same. I went through like multiple bottles of it. It was like weird.
Well, I hope everyone has a great rest of your Thursday is when this episode comes out and maybe you're listening to it there or on another day. Either way, I hope you have a great rest of your day and we'll talk to you guys next week.
All right. Bye. Bye.